My people, welcome back to the Amos Perspective. Today, we are talking about something deeper than electricity. We are talking about darkness. Not the darkness of night, but the darkness of policy failure. Nigeria sits on over 200 trillion cubic feet of gas. We have over 12,500 megawatts of installed capacity. We have spent more than $33 billion on reforms since 2005. And yet, the average Nigerian gets less than 4 hours of electricity a day. That is not a technical problem, that is a national paradox. Let me give you numbers that should keep leaders awake at night. In 2024 alone, the national grid collapsed 12 times. 5 were total system failures. In 2025, it has already collapsed multiple times again. Over 80 million Nigerians are completely off-grid. Our per capita electricity consumption is about 150 kilowatt-hours per year. South Africa consumes over 4,000. Ghana consumes nearly 400. Now listen carefully to this one. Private self-generation in Nigeria is estimated at 40,000 megawatts. That is 8 times the national grid. Think about that. The people have built a parallel electricity country. Nigeria is not poor in energy. Nigeria is poor in governance. The 2013 privatization was supposed to save us. 6 GenCos, 11 DISCos. Transmission stayed with government. On paper, it looked like reform. In reality, it became a liability chain. GenCos generate power. They invoice NBET. NBET depends on DISCos. DISCos depend on consumers. Consumers are unmetered and angry, so they refuse to pay. And the entire chain collapses. Today, GenCos are owed over 5.6 trillion naira. They receive less than 40% of their invoices. So what happens? They cannot pay gas suppliers. Gas suppliers shut valves. Generation drops. Load shedding begins. Darkness spreads. This is not mysterious, it is mechanical. Even if generation improves, the transmission grid cannot carry it. Our grid was largely designed in the 1960s. And guess what? We still do not have a fully functional supervisory control and data acquisition system SCADA. That means no real-time digital control, no automated rerouting, no intelligent balancing. In Kenya, Egypt, South Africa, when one feeder trips, power reroutes in seconds. In Nigeria, manual intervention, manual frequency checks, manual coordination in a 21st century economy. Between 2024 and 2025, the SCADA modernization project remained delayed. $33 billion spent since reform began, and still, no digital brain for the grid. That is not poverty, that is mismanagement. Now let us talk about DISCos. Aggregate technical, commercial and collection losses remain above 25%. International best practice is below 15%. More than 53% of customers remain unmetered. Estimated billing continues. Estimated billing breeds anger. Anger breeds non-payment. Non-payment breeds debt. Debt breeds collapse. In Q1 2025 alone, DISCos billed over 761 billion naira. They collected only 559 billion. That 202 billion gap cascaded upstream, back to GenCos, back to gas suppliers, back to darkness. Now we must ask the uncomfortable question. Who benefits from darkness? Nigeria has over 22 million generators in circulation. Manufacturers alone spent over 1.1 trillion naira in 2024 on alternative energy. The generator economy is massive. Fuel importers benefit. Maintenance contractors benefit. Some distribution officials benefit. Even political actors benefit. When failure becomes profitable, reform becomes inconvenient, and that is where patriotism is tested. Large industrial customers are leaving the grid. By 2024, 60% of manufacturers had exited. Why stay connected to instability? They build captive power plants. They become independent. And when they leave, the grid loses its most reliable payers. So who remains? Residential users. The least financially resilient. The most politically sensitive. That is a death spiral. Electricity is not just about factories. It is about hospitals. It is about cold storage for vaccines. It is about students studying at night. It is about SMEs that collapse because diesel costs triple grid tariffs. It is about air pollution from millions of generators. It is about lost productivity worth $25 to $28 billion annually, 5 to 7% of GDP. every single year. Darkness is expensive. The Electricity Act 2023 changed something fundamental. It moved electricity from the exclusive list to the concurrent list. States can now generate and distribute power. 10 states have already passed their own electricity laws. That is decentralization. That is opportunity. But decentralization without transmission investment is fragmentation. States need capital. They need coordination and they need grid integration. Otherwise, we build islands of light in oceans of darkness. The path forward is clear. First, settle GenCo debt transparently. Second, implement cost-reflective tariffs with social protection. Third, complete SCADA urgently. Fourth, recapitalize or revoke insolvent GenCos. Fifth, universal metering within 24 months. Sixth, fix the gas-to-power payment loop. Seventh, massively scale renewables. Nigeria has 210 gigawatts of solar potential. That is not theory. That is sunlight falling freely every day. Eighth, insulate NERC from political interference. Ninth, build indigenous transmission capacity. 10th, create a presidential power accountability dashboard. Monthly reporting, quarterly National Assembly presentation, annual public audit. No more announcements without accountability. My people, the darkness in Nigeria is not destiny, it is design. It is the accumulated result of tariff politics, debt accumulation, weak enforcement, vested interests, and half reforms. But policy failures can be reversed. The question is not whether Nigeria can generate electricity. We can. The question is whether Nigeria can generate political will. Will we choose productivity over patronage? Will we choose transparency over protectionism? Will we choose long-term prosperity over short-term political comfort? Because electricity is not just power. Electricity is dignity. Electricity is competitiveness. Electricity is national pride. If Nigeria fixes power, manufacturing grows, SMEs thrive, jobs expand, inflation pressures ease, foreign investors return, young Nigerians stay, hope increases. Light is not symbolic. Light is economic strategy. Light is social justice. Light is national transformation. My people, darkness persists because we have tolerated it. But the moment we demand accountability, darkness begins to retreat. This is not just an energy conversation. This is a sovereignty conversation. And as always, this has been the Amos Perspective. Let there be light because we choose the light.